There are many different ways to rank a transfer portal quarterback group, despite what many people think.
Locked On presents The Portal, the daily podcast covering college football recruiting and everything NIL. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Back into the Portal Podcast, where you get your daily recruiting, NIL, and transfer portal scoop. I'm your host, Brian Smith, longtime college football recruiting analyst. Thank you for making the Portal Podcast your first listen each and every day, right here on the nation's #1 podcasting network, Locked On. Today's show is brought to you by our friends over at Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first ticket purchase. We're going to be discussing who I have ranked as the top transfer portal quarterbacks so far. This list will obviously change, but why there's such a variety already makes it very easy to have discussion and debate. So I want to rank them at the end. Prior to that, we're going to be discussing statistics, likes, dislikes, things they can improve on, situations. There's a lot of information for a lot of different styles of quarterback. But off the top, as I noted in the intro, I just want to make clear there are numerous ways you can rank these young men: eligibility, style of play, fit for an offense, whether they want to stay close to home. There are a lot of factors that many of us can't even put into perspective because you have to know that person in the now. What is going on with their life right now as it relates to how they would perform at their next school? It's very complicated. Injuries, there are a lot of different things. So keep that in mind. My ranking may be completely different than yours, and there is no one specific ranking that is correct, because at the end of the day, it's just a ranking for now, but where they play is also a very, very big factor. And we'll find that out obviously in due time. So first off, 6-man list that is not a very difficult list to look at and say they're different than the others. They're different. 6 players: Raiola, Brendan Sorsby, Kenny Minchey, Colton Joseph, Aiden Chiles, DJ Lagway. It's players that were recruited pretty heavily. They've started, except for Minchey. He's the one oddball in this group, but he was back up to CJ Carr at Notre Dame. Is it going to be easy for these guys to immediately make impacts other places? I think most of them will. Even Minchey very likely will. And there's a drop-off, in my opinion, from what I've seen in the portal after those guys, because most of the quarterbacks, they're just not as polished, and or the upside may not be there. Of course, that's why the portal is fascinating, because sometimes what I think really doesn't matter all that much. So with that being stated, here's Dylan Raiola. A few things that I have about him for those of you that are listening to this podcast later. Dylan Raiola, big arm, pocket passer. He's used to being under pressure in terms of not just like throwing the ball with a guy in his face. I'm talking about he was raised to play football, raised to play quarterback. He's been a guy that played at Buford High School. He ended up going to Nebraska. It's a big box program, started as a freshman. Those things matter. And starting for 2 years, including as a true freshman, he was a captain for Nebraska. Those are the good notes. However, it's not perfect, and we'll get to that in one sec, but I do want to throw out the stats this year, just for the record. 181 to 250, 72.4%, 18 TDs, 6 touchdowns, or 6 interceptions, excuse me. I think that's a very important stat there, that 6 interceptions, 3-1, 18 to 6. He doesn't play for a team that is ultra talented, especially up front. They ran the ball pretty well, all things considering, but I think that he can take another step up. And part of that is just conditioning, running, etc., in terms of like making plays with his feet. He had negative yardage this year as a rusher. And I don't need Dylan to be a quote unquote dual threat, but I do need Dylan to be better than what he's been. So I think he's one of the top quarterbacks in the portal. And again, 2-year starter at a Big Ten school. You're a good player. 72.4%, 3-1 TD to interception. But he didn't play at a program that had a ton of guys that were up front dominant. I don't think they could throw the ball the way they really wanted, give him more 5- and 7-step drops, because they didn't think they would have the time. And he's not the most mobile guy. So the negative is the feet and playing for an offense that the offensive line didn't allow him to really do all the things that he could. And he was still pretty good. Nebraska's got a few nice receivers. They got a really good running back. I love that kid. But will he be ready for that next step? He's got 2 years of eligibility. Will he be ready to go into the next school and take them to a level where they can go into the playoff and make a run? Probably. There's a lot of discussion about how much he's transferred. Like he played at either 3 or 4 high schools. He's only played at one college, but for 2 years, he does move a lot. That is the question. I've had people ask me. There's people in the chat talking about it, as a matter of fact. And to be honest, they're all fair questions. Please, if you have any comments, fire away. I will get to the chat here in a few minutes. But Dylan is a guy that has all the upside in the world. But if he does not harness that and play for the right school, it's got to be a really good fit. Somebody that understands pocket quarterbacks, then it may not work so well. I think he would be tremendous in like the old school Norm Chow offense that was at BYU and over at USC, but something where he doesn't have to move a lot, not asked to do that. And there are programs like it, but most teams anymore, they want your quarterback to move around and throw the pigskin. So I don't know how that's going to work for him, but we'll see where he ends up. But he's got a tremendous amount of talent. Next up on my list, this is another guy that I think is very, very interesting because DJ Lagway is not a player that everybody likes as much as me. And the touchdown to interception ratio, I'll just get that out of the way right out of the gate. 16 TDs this year for the Gators, 14 picks, including five against LSU. Another pocket quarterback, but he can run. He just prefers to stay in the pocket. He's 245 pounds, give or take. Big dude. Raiola's similar size. They're both like 6'3". I think Raiola is probably closer to 240, but same kind of deal. But DJ has more mobility, but he's also been very much a guy that's injured all the time. Here are the things that I like and the two concerns that I have. Excellent arm strength. Definitely a great deep ball thrower. His freshman year, he was the best in the nation at throwing the deep ball per Pro Football Focus. He's got 2 years that he's had games that he started at the SEC level. That matters. And then finally, with him, despite all the negativity, just going to throw this in off the top of my head, like he really doesn't seem to get rattled, at least in public. That matters with your quarterback. You have to be able to handle pressure even when things don't go that well. Obviously, the injuries are the biggest concern. The other would be the interceptions. I don't think he sees the field that well. I'm not sure he was coached properly at UF. And of course, the coaching change. They've got John Summerall there now, and they brought in Buster Faulkner because of all that stuff. I think DJ could end up at numerous schools. Maybe it's Baylor. I think his dad's got ties to Baylor. That's where he played or went to school, what have you. Maybe that's the answer. Maybe it's Oklahoma State. Maybe it's Texas Tech. I don't know. There's a lot of questions. But USC and Texas A&M were the two programs that came in second and third for him out of the high school ranks. They should be considered. And don't forget about LSU. When we come back, I want to talk about a few guys that I think everybody knows, but at the same time, I'm not really sure that everybody respects the same way that I do. We're going to talk about that next, right here on the Portal Podcast. Today's show is brought to you by our friends at Omaha Steaks. The holidays are here, and whether you're hosting family, planning the perfect gift, or just trying to keep things simple and delicious, Omaha Steaks is making it easier than ever. From effortless holiday entertainment to unforgettable gifts, Omaha Steaks delivers the world's best steak experience, and it's right to your door. And what makes it even better, with Omaha Steaks, you always know exactly what you're getting. USDA certified tender steaks, premium proteins, gourmet sides, and decadent desserts that make anyone feel appreciated. So if you're getting something for your grandmother, whether it's for your grandfather, whether it's a friend, whether it's a gift for work, steaks, burgers, chicken, pork, seafood, desserts, something for everybody. And don't forget about sides. Side items are a nice little extra as well, all delivered to your door. Save big on gourmet gifts and holiday favorites with Omaha Steaks. Visit omahasteaks.com. And for an extra $35 off, use code COLLEGE at checkout. Terms apply. See site for details. That's omahasteaks.com. And the promo code is COLLEGE. Thank you once again for making the Portal Podcast your first listen each and every day right here on the Locked On Podcast Network. You're already used to coming in here, and this show is going to stay the same. We're going to do live shows. We're going to have early morning shows as well. All of that's the same, but we do have something a little bit extra for you. If you have already enjoyed this, why not take it to the next step with the Everydayer Club here on Locked On the Portal? No interruptions, member-only Discord access, and more, all for $5 a month or for $50 a year. We've got the address down below in the description of the show. Just check it out. Go there and check out the link, and you get all the show notes for anything extra. But again, $5 a month, It's pretty simple. You don't even have to worry about ads anymore. Now, let's talk about a couple other quarterbacks, and in particular, Brendan Sorsby. If I said that name to the average college football fan, he would be like, okay, I know the name. Which school is he at? But this year he blew up. I doubt that would be the case at the end of the season compared to the beginning. That same question would get a lot of difference between who did and who did not know where he was playing and how good he was. So with Brendan Sorsby, before I even put up his picture on the screen here on YouTube, 207 to 336, 61.6%, 2,800 yards, 27 TDs, 5 interceptions. So 5.4 to 1 TD to interception. That's really impressive for a Big 12 quarterback. Now, he also ran 100 times, 580 yards, so 5.8 per tote, and 9 touchdowns. Brendan Sorsby protected the football, played for a team that has talent, but they're not as talented as some of the other schools in the Big 12, and he ate some of them up, and he's mobile. He's played for 3 years. He's got 1 year of eligibility left. This, in my opinion, is a very unique circumstance because not many guys are going to be able to throw the football like he does, run it like he does, and just have the all-around mobility and just athletic ability that he has. So the question becomes, what are we going to do with Sorsby in terms of the ranking? If you want to talk about that, in my perspective, it's pretty simple. He's got to be at or near the top because he's proven it on the field. I know it wasn't SEC or Big Ten, but again, dual threat, multi-year Big 12 starter, 5.4 to 1 TD to interception ratio. My only question is, Cincinnati's a good team. They don't have the same talent as some other schools in their league, kind of like Raiola with Nebraska. Is he ready to take a team to that next spot? And I expect him to end up at Texas Tech. For those that don't know, there's a picture on X, and I'm sure some other places too. His girlfriend is transferring to Texas Tech. Is that a sign? I would imagine so. At that point, we'll find out when it comes time for him to make a decision. Maybe he doesn't go to Tech, but they need a quarterback because their quarterback's going to be done after this year, and Sorsby would be a 1 year hit. That'll be very interesting to see how it goes. So Sorsby is a guy that I think will be at or very close to the top of the list, not only for quarterback, but honestly, for just about any position in the transfer portal, because the experience and the versatility and the proven numbers, they're going to be pretty hard to top. Let's talk about Aiden Chiles. This is a quarterback that might be the most perplexing out of everybody that's on this list. I got 6 quarterbacks. Chiles was highly coveted out of the greater Los Angeles area, signed with Oregon State. Jonathan Smith took him to Michigan State. He had moments, and his stats weren't terrible, but he still got benched towards the end of the year. I don't know if that's on the field, off the field, both, but for what it's worth, here are the stats for him this year. It's pretty good in a way, but like, again, Michigan State wasn't very good, so I don't know how to grade him completely. 128 to 203, 63.1%, 1,392 yards. He had 10 touchdowns, 3 interceptions, but only 6.9 yards per attempt. That's really low. 81 carries, 227 yards, 2.8 yards per attempt, and 6 TDs. I think that's lower than the reality. Their offensive line was horrendous at Michigan State. It should be about 4 yards a carry minimum for him. And he's 6'3", 225. He's a big dude. I think if the right quarterback coach and system is aligned with Aiden Chiles, he could be a guy that's starting in the playoff in 2026. All the talent in the world. Next up, this one is kind of fun because, like Chiles, there's that question mark. And we'll find out what is going to happen. But Colton Joseph, he was one of the first guys to hop in the portal. He's another Los Angeles area guy. He ended up at Old Dominion out of high school. He's played 2 years. He has 2 years left. Is he ready for that P4 jump? Let's just put that in the back of your mind. But just watching film, seeing him play, this is a great athlete. He had 179 yards of rushing against Indiana. Now, he threw the ball terrible in that game, but I don't think they have the receivers and tight ends to beat Indiana's secondary. They're really good. But he's a dual threat quarterback through and through. Again, much like with Aiden Chiles or anybody else that's one of these guys that's still got eligibility left and has the arm, has the physical gifts, if he is aligned with the right individuals at the right school, he could be a big-time quarterback. And he's got 2 years of eligibility. I think we're going to see Joseph coveted by numerous programs, especially because it is 2 years. I have no idea where he'll go, but he's a guy that's got the arm and his athleticism is through the roof. He's only 6'2", 200 pounds. But other than that, like the only question is, again, is he ready for the pressure of playing at a major P4 program? We'll find out. But he played well against Indiana and he played well against Virginia Tech, the 2 games that he played P4 competition. And with being an elite runner, you can just make a handful of adjustments in his passing game. And this is a guy you can go win 10 games and get in the playoff next year. I think he's really, really intriguing. Next up, this is one of the guys that I think people are probably very curious about because, let's be honest, Kenny Minchey is not somebody that's played much. He completed 76.9% of his passes this year as a backup. His stats, 20 of 26 at Notre Dame, 196 yards, 7.5 yards per attempt, playing mop-up duty, 7 carries, 84 yards, 12 yards per carry, and a score. He is a great athlete. I remember I saw a video. He did a backflip after a touchdown in Notre Dame spring game this past, April. That's not normal. Not every quarterback's doing backflips. But he's got the arm. He's an Elite 11 kid. I saw him in 2022 before he signed with Notre Dame. Really nice guy, very even keel. He's known to be somebody that's good on the chalkboard. He understands coverages and schemes. He's got the arm, but he just played at Notre Dame and CJ Carr won the quarterback competition. Is he going to be able to make that big jump to another school and be an instant impact guy? It'll be his 4th year. He's got 2 years of eligibility. He'll be a redshirt junior. But the experience factor is my one question. I don't know how you rank him. I really don't, because it's very difficult to kind of look at him and say, well, I can put him up over these other guys just because of his talent. You could, but there's got to be some kind of proof in the pudding. What is the deal with his experience and how much do you rank that? Because he's got very, very little. I'm going to put him down a little bit and go over that when I give my rankings here in a second. But I just do want to make one clear point. If at the end of the day, Kenny Minchey ends up being the best out of everybody that's in the portal now or at the end of this, would it surprise me? No, it would not. I just don't know if it'll be a big hit year one because, again, experience matters. He has very little at the college level, let alone P4. But somebody's going to take him, and I'm sure he's got offers already. Who, what, when, where, why, how he ends up deciding on a school, I don't know. He's from Tennessee for what it's worth. I'm sure there's the opportunity for him to end up back in SEC country. But again, I don't know which school that would be. I don't know why. There are a lot of different ways you can look at it. So he is a microcosm of what it's like to be a quarterback at this level. And just to be honest with you, I'm not sure Kenny Minchey isn't going to end up at the top, but it just shows you the variables. You got a guy like Raiola, 2-year starter, and you got a guy like Minchey that's had to wait his turn for 3 years, and he's still not going to be the guy next year, so he's transferring. The portal is wild, and there's so many different ways to rank quarterbacks. When we come back, I'm going to give my ranking for these 6 and give a few extra parting shots as well. That is next on the Portal Podcast. Today's show is brought to you by Game Time. The World Cup is coming back to North America for the first time since 1994, and with 48 teams for the first time ever, it's going to be massive. But let's be honest, getting tickets is usually the hardest part. That's why Game Time and their app is clutch, finally giving fans a real advantage in getting it back to you when you need to get some seats and getting them immediately. With Game Time, you can track price drops in real time, get alerts right to your phone whenever great seats are going to open up, and buy tickets the moment they hit the Game Time app. It puts the power back in your hands, the fan. It makes going to the World Cup realistic instead of impossible. All you got to do, and this Game Time app I've used multiple times to go to games here recently, just pull up the app, type in what you're looking for. It could be the World Cup. It could be a pro football game, college football game, baseball, whatever. Name of the team, go through there. You can set it up. You can get alerts, whatever you want to do. And when you click on a ticket, you will see the seat view in that venue to the floor. It's really great. And Game Time makes it easy for everyone. Take the guesswork out of buying World Cup tickets, every match, concert, or event with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, download the app, create an account, use code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off. Swipe, tap, ticket, go. Game Time. All right. Thank you once again for making the Portal Podcast your first listen. Like and subscribe. Now it is time for my rankings. And this was a little bit more difficult for me than I thought it was going to be, because you got to look at the eligibility factor, the experience factor, because again, Raiola, Sorsby, Minchey, Joseph, Chiles, Lagway, these six, they all have talent, but they have a massive amount of differences in how much they've played and at what level, the expectations at those schools. It really does make it hard. So for me, I got Sorsby number one. He's the sure thing if there is one, because he's a dual threat that has been a multi-year starter. He's going to be a fifth-year senior. He's the safest pick here by a mile. And he's been proven. Again, 5.4 to 1 TD to interceptions this year. That was the final stat for me. 2, Raiola. 2 years of eligibility is nice. His mobility sets him back a little bit. But if you put him with a better offensive line, I think Raiola could be really, really good. Just got to find that fit. Number 3, I've taken a little chance here. Colton Joseph. Now he's taking the step up to P4, I would assume. We'll see. But how's he going to look when he actually has protection? Like when he played against Virginia Tech and Indiana, they weren't going to block those two schools. They weren't. So he had to run around a little bit. I think he's going to take a massive step up. DJ Lagway, he just has to stay healthy, man. He can't take the hits. Maybe he needs to take a year off. I've talked about that before here on the Portal Podcast. And redshirt, that's a possibility depending on circumstance. But most teams that are going to spend the money on these guys, they're going to want an impact guy. Is DJ going to be the right fit for an LSU or Baylor or who knows? I can't say, but I've seen the arm talent. I've seen it up close. I've seen him from 5 feet away throwing passes. Like his arm strength is incredible. He throws a great deep ball. If the right scheme is matched with DJ Lagway, it could really take off. Number 5 is Aiden Chiles for me. This is another intriguing one because much like with Raiola and even worse, Michigan State's offensive line was terrible. I don't think he saw anything besides ghosts part of the time, and it's why he struggled. He got rid of the ball too soon. He didn't go through his progressions the way he should have. There's a lot of different things that make him intriguing, but you're going to have to fix some stuff. The timing in his head is not right, and it probably impacted where he wanted to throw, when he wanted to throw, and his expectations before play even started. O-line was terrible. That means they're going to have to fix it, whoever it is that gets Aiden Chiles, because those are important factors. Can't replace the size, 6'3", 225, the arm talent, and he is mobile. Those are all good, but there's still a ways to go. He could be another one of those guys that ends up hitting big. And then finally, Minchey. As I talked about in the last segment, really talented young man. Good kid. Growing into an older person now, becoming a man, but not having the experience actually on game day. It's hard to rank Kenny Minchey any other place than dead last on this list just because of the experience. I think the talent is as good as anybody out there, and he's 6'2", 210 pounds. He's super mobile. He's a very easy guy to be around. He'll blend in wherever he goes. And my guess is it'll be Big Ten or SEC. We'll see. But bottom line, Kenny Minchey's a guy that's probably going to have to really hit the ground running to get everybody to believe, because, again, he threw like 26 passes last year for Notre Dame, all in mop-up duty. He didn't get many chances. So I hope Kenny Minchey finds his home and it goes well. But those are my 6. Again, I got Sorsby, Raiola, Joseph, Lagway, Chiles, and Minchey for my 6. With that, I want to open it up a little bit, go into the chat. There's some comments in here, and thank you for everybody that have made some comments. I'll go through these. Here we go. Salty, what's going on, man? Happy Tuesday afternoon, Portal Nation. Absolutely. At how many schools has Dylan Raiola enrolled? I want to say 5. I think he went to 4 different high schools. That'd be, if I'm right, that's 5. Will Bryce Underwood be in the portal? If they don't hire a quarterback coach / head coach / OC, everything that he needs, and pronto, very possible. The thing with him is he needs to have a deal done in advance somewhere. I don't think he wants to go through the drama, which he probably won't. Personally, I hope Underwood stays and tries to help Michigan rebound, but that is a tough situation because the timing's probably not going to work out well. That's for me, Smitty. I just love your show. I've been bringing the juice out of them. I'd like to see you handle a weekly recruiting and portal segment on Irish Breakdown. Oh, I don't know. I can talk to Driscoll about it. Andre, who is the most underrated receiver in the portal? That's a great question. Let me just put this in perspective. I had a conversation with Andrew Ivins at 24/7. He does their scouting. I was asking him about a kid this year, it's probably 6 months ago, why he had him ranked where he did. And he goes, at some point, somebody's got to be ranked down there. There were so many good receivers. And he's right. And it's the same thing with the portal. I haven't even scouted the receivers yet. I've only focused on quarterback. Why? Well, it's very simple. Quarterback is what drives the market. It's what drives all these teams. They got to get quarterback right first. Then everything kind of goes down. But there are a ton of good receivers in there. Marsh would be the guy's number one, the kid from Michigan State. But after that, I really don't know. I'm not trying to rank those guys yet. I'll get into that position more. But quarterback, offensive line, defensive line, those are my focuses usually. And then the elite playmaker guys. A lot of the wide receivers end up being good players, but they're hard to really rank, kind of like I was talking about with Minchey, because they're really talented, but they played just a little bit in 2 years or something. And you look at him like he was top 100, blah, blah, blah. He went to Georgia or whatever. It could be anybody. And how do you rank that guy? Then you got those guys from the lower ranks, like a Georgia State or an FCS school. They could be awesome. But you got to ask the same question as I would a Colton Joseph, who came from Old Dominion. Are they ready for the jump to the P4? There's so many questions with that stuff. Salty, Dylan is having a troubled history finding the right school. 100%. Hurricane Hicks 01, Raiola to Miami following the grant. Oh, he's got ties with Miami? If he does, that's interesting to me. Thank you for mentioning that. Salty, Virginia Peanuts, Hurricane. Didn't Raiola's travel start with the Miami Florida flip? Are those bridges already burned? I don't know. I'm not familiar with that stuff. That's interesting. That was Rashada. Yeah. Rashada was that guy. That is well done. Would Sorsby be a good fit at Texas Tech? I think Sorsby would be a good fit in any offense because he takes care of the football. He is mobile. He'll use his feet, even if you're more of a passing attack that doesn't do a lot of RPO. And finally, it's just experience. Older players that have played a lot, like Sorsby, they're going to figure it out. Okay, I need to throw more because of who I have, or I need to run more because of who I have around me. Sorsby, again, highest floor by a mile out of this group. And I also think he's a guy that will do very well long-term because he'll adapt if and when a player goes down, if and when a player gets hot. He just wants to win. Like, he lifted, I'm not trying to pick on him, but again, Cincinnati's got talent, but they're not the same talent as some of the Big Ten schools, etc. They're not, but he's really talented. I put the post in 5 seconds before Smitty suggested it would be Texas Tech. Yeah, his girlfriend's going to Tech. Like, I'd be surprised. It is what it is. In politics, follow the money. In sports, follow the girlfriend. Post of the day. Let's see. Colton Joseph is ready for a P4 school, and he seems to be very smart shopper based on his ODU choice as a starting point. It certainly helped him. He's had an opportunity to get 2 good years in. Kenny Minchey probably should have transferred from Notre Dame last season, but he seems to be a loyal person. He has never been any whiff on discontent. He will be a great quarterback for someone. I hope so. He seems like a good guy. From what little I was around him, he was really nice. As an Irish fan, I'm rooting for Minchey to succeed. Hope he finds a good fit. He deserves it. I hope so. To be really honest, that would be great. Salty. Didn't you tell the story of Minchey chilling in the car listening to music in between his reps at the LA Elite 11 finals? I don't know if that was me. I've heard that story. I don't think that was me. But he's one of those guys that's really laid back. So Lagway needs to transfer to a school with a good sports orthopedics department. He'll need it. Look, man, I don't know what the deal is, but he has been banged up a lot. What's up, Raymond? How you doing, sir? Minchey has also been developed by Notre Dame by Gino Gajuli. He has not been sitting in the corner rusting. True. Very true. Let's see. Oh, wow. What do we got? That is going to do it for the chat. All right. Thank you very much for everybody that stopped in today. As a last shot right before I came on, I know this was a quarterback pod. Florida State corner Jabril Rawls is entering the portal. That is a guy that will command a lot of attention. Very long, very athletic. He's a kid I know. He's out of the Pensacola area. There will be many suitors for Drew Burrell-Rawls. Seems like every time I get ready to do a pod, right before I go on, I just kind of check. There's somebody 2 minutes before I go on to a podcast, especially if it's a live show, and I don't have stats ready for it. So I just got to throw it in. But thank you once again to everybody that checked out the Portal Podcast today. We do live shows almost every day, although I will be on the road tomorrow scouting. We will not have a show Wednesday, be back Thursday. Everybody have a good one. This has been a live show for the Portal Podcast.